All
All
right,
right.
so sorry I'm late. I think we had a little bit of discussion in the green room earlier. It seems like there's sickness going around, etc. I'm not
Yeah.
sick, though. I probably look at. I've just been doing a hackathon lately at work. I'm not sure if you've done one of these in a minute, but we're trying to explore. I think there's this new stuff called Gen AI going around. I don't know, just trying
Yeah.
to kick the
Yeah.
tires a little bit. It's interesting in that like though you and I may have been using these tools for about 2 or 3 years, there are
Yeah.
still people in our, I guess,
Mm,
industry as a whole who are not naysayers, but still haven't tried things, which is interesting to me. It's not even that they're against it or anything
yeah.
like that. It's just like they go home, like they
Yeah.
shut the work laptop, they go home, they're done,
Yeah.
watch movies, whatever. And I say this with no, I'm not judging anybody.
Uh,
But
I've
unfortunately, I can't stop thinking about work when I go home, which is just get out of this chair and go to the couch or whatever. And
yeah.
I've been using this stuff so long, but I think this hackathon is trying to get people familiar with some of
Yeah.
the tooling that's out there. We pay a lot at Datadog for Gen AI tooling, as well as trying to get our engineers skilled up. So
Mm,
it's pretty fun, actually.
yeah. Um, Thinking of people who are able to close the laptop and that's it for work. I've
Yes.
I've never been able to do that.
Yeah, I'm not that person.
I
Yeah, I wish I was.
I don't know if I do. I mean, it feels like you.
True.
I don't know. If you're the kind of person that doesn't like what they do enough to want to do it all the time, I don't
I
know.
know. There's some of that in me. The other half is, and I realize, listen, you've worked from home for a minute. You haven't been to an office in a bit, but
Yeah.
when I go back to the office now, what I'm noticing is what we're talking about, and I swear I didn't plan the segue, but it works pretty well. But it's people walking around with their laptops that they don't want to close for other reasons. They've got like a session running, maybe they're in a workspace or like a dev
Mm,
container or whatever, but they've got that context running and they
right.
want to save it at all costs because their session, it's given
Hmm.
them some good code or whatever. They want to continue on with it. They don't want
Right.
to re-roll or what have you, or try to resume the session. And what I've noticed in the office is you've got people running from meeting to meeting with their laptops sort of like just a tiny bit open, like closed on their fist kind of things.
Yep.
They're walking around the office, and we do have solutions for this. And I think we talked about it last week or maybe the week before. I had gone to a meetup in New York while I was there for Daytona is one of the
Mm,
companies, and what they did was essentially it's not a resounding. I'm not saying go buy this or anything like that, but it does feel that sandboxing is going to be more and
mm.
more important. I'm also seeing a lot of people rediscover Screen and Tmax, and I think we've talked about Zellage
Yeah.
before, which I'm loving actually. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for recommending that probably a year and a half ago at this point, because this is how that typically works. I finally listened to you when two
Yeah.
or three other people mentioned it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome actually. The only thing I don't like is the key bindings sometimes conflict with Claude,
Right.
but I'm liking this new era, and I feel like people are starting to understand that whole, maybe it's like what a terminal app is or the terminal app
Right.
ecosystem, which I'm so here for. I think
Yeah.
everybody knows
Yeah.
I love TUI, so for me this is phenomenal. I feel like they actually survive. It's like they survive web frameworks, they survived
Hmm.
HTML1, Web 2.0, whatever Web 3 was. They're probably going to be here for Web 4. This serial interface has been around for
Hmm.
a long time, and I'm not gonna. I won't. I'll try not to let the cat out of the bag in terms of what I got to share this week,
Okay.
but it's no different. But it is
Yeah.
hardware. I just feel like. What am I trying to say here? It just seems like a lot of the things that we thought were old are now becoming new again,
Hmm.
maybe, and I'm
Except,
kind of loving it.
so you're a fan of Zellage now, and
Yes.
Tmux and
Uh-oh.
Screen. I feel like those are they are solutions to a problem that existed 20 years ago, and there's no reason to use them anymore.
I would agree up to a certain point. So I feel like if you're doing 10 things, or like it's kind of like tabs in Chrome. If you're doing 10 things,
Right.
tabs
Well, I
are
mean,
great.
most
If you're doing
terminal
100 things,
terminal
yeah, go
apps
ahead.
support that. The splitting of the screen. Yeah, I use that all the time. I just don't use ancient
Right.
programs like Zellage and Tmux to do it.
Right. So I think you might have hit on a pretty good point, in fact. So the splitting of the screen is what I would normally use Tmux for.
Right.
It's like side by side comparison. The other thing is, having looked at a lot of the terminal apps that are out there now,
Hmm.
some of the libraries, that kind of stuff, I feel like this is built into most of them now, or most of the
Hmm.
new ones. Like
Yeah.
Kitty, I think has it. Well, I just found out the dev is pretty toxic, so sorry to like air that publicly, but like, yeah, whoo. So not using Kitty. There's some drama there. You could the risky click. You can search after hours when you check out from work. The other one is Alacrity as well. I believe also
Hmm.
supports that, or at least has a mode that does it. But I think what's interesting about these, it's a session management system, much
Right.
like Screen. So Screen was a quote unquote screen management system, or a PTY or TTY management system. And that's what's actually important, especially when you're working with models that don't support quote unquote team mode or agent
Hmm.
mode or what have you, or apps that don't support this. So if you're in Olama, again, sorry, I'm not
Hmm.
passing judgment, but I paid the $20. So now I'm paying for 3 subscriptions, Matt. This is all your fault. We got Claude. So Anthropic, my apologies, the Max plan. We've got the not the Copilot plan. Again, no
Hmm.
disparagement to Microsoft, but not on that. I do pay for GitHub, $10 a month, but we're into the OpenAI Chat GPT as well. And now I'm paying for $20 on the Llama, and it's pretty good. Most of the models that I've used are pretty good. A lot of what I do is tool calling, which shouldn't
Hmm.
surprise you at all. What I find though is for that, if I want to like multiplex a task like Tmux
Hmm.
and I say like assign 10 agents to it or what have you, it's not necessarily built into the model to be able to do that, which is fine. The
Hmm.
API provider doesn't give it whatever. What you can do though is teach your harness, your GUI or what have you,
Hmm.
to be able to control Screen, Zelich, or Tmux, to be able to spawn those out as shells, and then you can reconnect to them to check on them,
Okay.
which is what I
Okay.
think a lot of that Anthropic Claude, Agent Swarm teams,
Right.
assign agents, all those things are essentially doing. So they're cutting the
Right.
context that's shared to them, assigning tasks and coming back. And Gastown is no different. Sorry to bring that up as well.
Hmm.
We talked a little bit about AutoClaude too, but those are just sessions. They're not necessarily dedicated terminals.
Right.
And I think that's the main thing, is that being able to resume that session is important. And
Yeah.
this is one of those like paradigms that I've been fighting against for a long time in my career. And it's a hobby horse that I've yet to card out on this show. But to me, a lot of my work has been in like home folders, for example. This is so boring. I'm so sorry. It'll get interesting in a second. We're about to talk home folders and things like NIS or distributed authentication systems, LDAP.
Okay.
When you need to log into systems and resume your session and
Hmm.
get access to your data again from a
Right.
different computer. This is one of those things that used to be really important in the client server
Right.
paradigm,
Yep.
when we had like local networks and a lot of the stuff was local to the
Yep.
users, but is no longer the case now that we're in the cloud for the most part. There are,
Hmm.
I think Amazon Workspaces be a good example of that. And this is where I find myself now, is we're back into the resumable sessions, because you've got
Right.
a context that comes with the session, and
Right.
it's kind of magical sometimes. Some context windows will work for you, some don't. And then, of course, when they get compacted, it might be trash. It might actually still be okay. But it feels like people want that session. What I think would be amazing is be able to like snapshot sessions and spin them off and try like different what if scenarios. We're not there yet, but
Well,
that's what
isn't
I'm
that
trying to
what
do is
Mosh
resume
is?
sessions. Oh no, tell me. Oh, Mosh. Yes, yes, yes. Uh, mm, yeah, Mosh should be like a front end for a resumable backend session. I think it does have pluggable backends.
Hmm.
I use Mosh at Samsung all the time. This is a blast
Yeah.
from the past. Let me pull this up, because I thought Mosh was just like a front end to terminal sessions.
Hmm.
No, remote terminal application roaming. Yes, it's basically exactly this. Yes, you got
Okay.
it. So like imagine a session that you've got and then you want to be able to return to it.
Right.
We used it for like Bastion sessions, for example, at Samsung. So we'd have a Bastion session that we'd use for other things. We'd
Hmm.
quit once a day, I think is what we did. I would just refresh, like start a new EC2, but it would allow us to resume while we're at work, which is kind of,
Right.
it's kind of nice, because you've got that
Yeah.
session there. It knows who you are, everything's authenticated, what have you. But these resumable sessions, I think, are key, because I can't seem to ship my context, if that makes sense. So I can like
Hmm.
replay the whole session, but it doesn't feel like it's the same every time. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure what it is. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes if I close a session and then resume it, I might not have the same experience either. Like sometimes the
Mm-hmm.
model, like for lack of a better word, seems dumb. It's not that it is
Yeah.
dumb. It just
Yeah.
feels like it's lost something. Like
Yeah.
I've been demoted to haiku for a minute, or like we were talking about Llama 2 last week.
Right.
Something older,
Yeah.
not great, and as a result, like people hold on to that session and they want to keep it with them. So this is where we are. We're multiplexing TMUX. We're using remote client server things from I don't know, the 60s. Is this
Yeah.
when this was
Yeah.
invented? Screen's pretty old. Like
Yeah.
this is a very old paradigm to be able to share essentially
Right.
a
Right.
serial connection to a mainframe.
Yeah.
That's my rant. I've had some coffee, as you can
Okay.
tell. But you haven't used like an MCP to automate Zellage or a screen or anything like that to be able to
I have
resume
not
later?
thought of that.
Okay, so I'll give you an example of something. We've talked about Tavily a couple times,
Right.
and
Yep.
again, not a resounding endorsement, but I went to one whole meetup this year, so I'm not going to quit talking about it until you've heard about it a bunch of times. Tavily demonstrated ways of doing web research. We talked about this before. I think Brave is yet another way you could do it. You can grab the Brave API, or you can just use the web research that's built into your model. But if you're doing something like Google Deep Research, you'll run out of credits pretty quickly. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
especially on the free mode, it's not going to take very long. Being able to define what your search is essentially for free and spider it out to multiple agents that will then correlate the data is a superpower. And that's what I've been
Hmm.
using. So it's not web scraping, but it's kind of like, I'll give you the exact example I was looking at. So for every integration Datadog has, 1,000 plus, what have you,
Right.
uh, for each of those integrations, look at pairs and see if they're related. So, for example, Microsoft might have, I think it's 60, 70 integrations.
Mm-hmm.
Are any of those integrations related to each other? So you might have Office 365 and SharePoint. Are those related?
Right.
I mean, yeah, they're related. Is
Yeah.
Entra or AD related to most of those entries? Maybe. So
Yeah.
some of that stuff, just trying to figure out like what a good pairing would be or what the ecosystem looks like.
Right. Right.
It may not surprise you. It surprised me. But in order to do all those searches, I came up to about a half mil, maybe more than a half mil searches, 600,000 records of searches that I would
Okay.
have to do in order to compare these pairs. It's not a lot of work, actually. I mean, I could do
Right.
this work. It's no problem. It might take me a year. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I think we couldn't let you up here. It might take me a year. And it looks like it would take the AI with an API key probably about an hour or two to do
Uh-huh.
if I paid Tavily or paid Brave.
Right.
If you do it for free, it'll take about 2 days. So the
Hmm.
question is, can I wait overnight to do this for a couple days,
Right.
and can I resume these sessions writing to
Right.
JSON-L because I'm a convert now apparently,
Yeah.
and then shove them into a DB that I can query. And I think I was using Dolt. I don't know if you've used Dolt before.
No.
Is this not come out? Okay, Dolt. I was playing around with Gastown once, and I got a notice on all of my nodes saying moving to Dolt. I was like, I have to, like, I must have been hacked. Like
Yeah.
this, they're making fun of me, calling me, the Dolt means dumb, obviously in English,
Okay.
but for those who, today's English lesson, I had assumed that this package was a meme. You know, one of those typo
Right.
squad things,
Right.
like, haha, we got the vibe coder, we're gonna install this package, and it's gonna print something on the screen. You could have been hacked, whatever. No, Dolt is like an actually pretty cool, dumb SQLite type database. It is fantastic,
Okay.
actually. Anyway, I saw it moving around and started looking at it. It's pretty handy for the situations where you need a tiny database and you need to be within a certain license parameters, so MIT, Apache, BSD, as we talked about before. It needs to be performant, and
Right.
it is. It's actually
Hmm.
quite nice. But yeah, this is what I've been doing. So writing to adult database and having multiple search NG,
Mm-hmm.
Tavily, and Brave
Mhm.
runners find the results. So search NG is pretty good. It'll give you like quick results in terms
Right.
of relationships or market research. I
Right.
found that Tavily is amazing, but I've
Yeah.
only really used one research API, so it's not a fair comparison.
Yeah.
But Brave's pretty good, actually. If you have to use Brave, it's just a standard web search.
Yeah.
And search NG it's okay.
Yeah.
It's like Google from 2010, which is that's not like that's a pretty
Yeah.
darn good
Yeah.
thing, but it's not a web research bot basically. So
Right.
that's what I've been doing, is trying to like run long running tasks to figure out what those look
For what?
like.
For what goal?
Well, we're doing a hackathon, you see. So the question would be like,
Oh,
hey, we've
okay.
got we've got 1,000 integrations,
Hmm.
and some of those are ecosystems. So let's say Amazon, for example.
Hmm.
So we've got an Amazon ecosystem and a Microsoft ecosystem. Do they overlap? And in fact, they do. There are some cases where they might overlap. So there could be SQL Server, for example. There could be somebody maybe running Teams. Sorry,
Right.
this judgment was definitely meant. Uh, or workspaces, as we mentioned. They could be
Right.
running like
Right.
Windows 10 or 11 or what have you as
Okay.
a remote desktop. And sometimes it's interesting to see those areas where we might not, as a company, concentrate because we would assume that Amazon and Microsoft don't
Mm.
overlap, but they actually do in a few cases. And those cases might actually be non trivial in terms of the people
Right.
who are waiting for this. Now, I'm not a product manager, and
Right.
again, this is just a hackathon. But it's so on one side, it's like there's probably pent up demand, which I think is
Yep.
like the product manager role is to find that. The other that I look at is where do we have a product and we have utility in one of
Yeah.
these areas, but we're not necessarily talking about, which is definitely like that's on me. Like
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
figure out where this is and actually talk about it. And it's interesting to be able to compare like what you're currently offering, what your clients may be using, and where you are now. So some of the stuff, it could just be like a skill in Claude that could help you out. It could be like maybe we need to pull up a Datadog API or somebody else's API
Right.
and mash them together to get stuff. But it's interesting to see what I don't want to say blind spots, but those areas that we haven't necessarily concentrated on
Hmm.
that are like a long tail, but a
Right.
non-trivial long tail. Anyway,
Wow.
honestly, I just want to use new tools. It's a
Yeah.
hackathon, so I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
let's try all the shiny hammers and see which one
Yeah.
hits the hardest. It's pretty
Cool.
fun. Yeah, I don't know. Like, did you know Gen AI is pretty cool? One of the biggest ones I've been trying to do, and you might like this, is trying to use AppleScript to automate PowerPoint on Mac. Now, I don't know when the last time you've
Mm.
touched the .NET SDK for Office is, probably a little while ago.
Yeah.
It's fantastic
Oh, really?
until you move to Mac.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because I think on Windows, the last I checked, it was like a .NET API, and you could just hook into it, and you could
Yeah.
essentially command the entire app, which was amazing. I used to do it for
Yeah.
hospitals. We could, automate reports, add little
Right.
buttons into the menu,
Yeah.
have people click a button and it would do stuff. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And Claude does have Claude for PowerPoint, I believe, on
Okay.
Windows, but not on Mac. And on
Oh,
Mac,
okay.
they've got a skill in the Claude app, but the Claude app, unfortunately, is sandbox and it only has a certain amount of
Mm.
utility. So if I want to compare my slides versus a template, for example, to see
Right.
if there's like template adoption, it's quite difficult to use the app
Mm.
to do that. So I ended up essentially crafting my own NCPs and
Right.
mushing some stuff together. But it got down to the nitty gritty. Like I think we've talked about AutoIt before. It was essentially doing
Hmm.
AutoIt. So it would like open up the screen,
Yeah.
literally inject
Yeah.
keystrokes, and then get the result out, which is great unless you're using your computer while it's
Right.
doing
Yeah.
this. And
Yeah.
then it's typing into Slack as you're
Yeah.
typing. It's like, why is my mouse moving? What's going on? Did
Yeah.
somebody hack me? Or Corp IT is like, why is Claude looking at your OS 10 keychain? It's like, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Why is it looking at my
Yeah.
keychain? I think it was looking for OAuth or something like that.
Yeah.
But still, this is important.
Yeah.
And PowerPoint on Mac, I had forgotten just how different it is than
Hmm.
PowerPoint on Windows. None of the SDKs or API guides that I could find apply at all.
Yeah.
It's completely opaque. I can't seem to get it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of even the keyboard shortcuts are different, so you can't just
Yeah.
like. And that's not control/command. It's not that. It's more like the actual keys are different, or they don't exist,
Yeah.
or there's features that don't exist, or it's like, hey, you can use VB macros for this. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm on a Mac. And
Yeah.
and funnily enough, they did port some of the macros, the VBA stuff, but it's like a limited command set. It might be 30% of what you'd see on the real one. Anyway,
Hmm.
definitely have my coffee, but this is what we're this is what
Wow.
we're hacking on. Whee!
Yeah.
What have you
Yeah.
been up
And
to?
there's so many of these uh, companies that have sprouted up to try to help you create slides, but they
Yes,
create like the worst possible slides,
because they're
and
trained on garbage.
yeah, they're just churning out. I mean, Gamma is one of those that's like it
I've not
just
heard of it.
spews out awfulness.
Oh, it's
Um,
Manus. Yeah, I've tried Manus slides. It's
oh,
it's pretty bad. Yeah, and
yeah,
and Manus is pretty slow. Even the newer Manus is
yeah,
pretty slow. I'm sure it'll get better. There's Open Hands too. Have you played with that? The open
no,
source version. It's about as fast as
yeah.
Manus. I think it started off as Open Manus, but the idea
Gamma
was,
is Manus.
yeah, Gamma is Manus.
Okay.
Yes. I think they bought them. Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't
Okay.
have an Excel and PowerPoint skill. I
Yeah.
think that's when Claude started making their own as well,
Yeah.
and then OpenAI's had theirs for a while in the ChatGPT desktop app,
Right.
and I haven't tried it. I probably should
Mm.
because I'm paying for it. But yeah, I would say a lot of in I think you'd agree with me. A lot of the slide decks that you see out of these tools are pretty hideous, but when I go to the places that they're probably, frankly, stealing data
Yeah.
from, like
Yeah.
SlideShare, the bulk of the SlideShare slides aren't great
Yeah.
either. And you can give them rules and things like that, but since the corpus that they're trained on is like that, they're like handout materials,
Yeah.
the very data intensive slides that are
Right.
no one can read, much less like listen to you while reading. It's
Right.
impossible. It's trained on those, so you'll get
Yeah.
8 or 9 bullet points per slide,
Yeah.
no section markers, no pauses. The
Yeah.
notes are just these 3 paragraph diatribes, just
Right.
awfulness. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And then what's funny is people will go through and they'll use the Gemini slide creator in Google Slides. I'm not sure if you've seen that
Mm.
before. And it creates essentially the same thing. It's
Yeah.
got Nano Banana, so it actually makes slides that look so until you
Yeah.
look at the Datadog logo and it's become an anteater after like a couple iterations. The nose is just like growing longer, or the snout, sorry, is just growing longer and longer. And then the thing he's holding looks more and more like a wrinkled piece of paper,
Huh.
and the paws become hands.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just one of those stable diffusion things. It
Yeah.
just like gradually just falls apart at the
Yeah.
seams. It's kind of fun to watch,
Wow.
but it does generate okay slides. They've got that Nano Banana glow,
Mhm.
the 90s Photoshop effect. That's not bad. Someone Jeremy, for example, went through a
Mhm.
whole slide deck at our last CKO that was generated in Nano Banana, and it was acceptable. It,
Yeah.
it wasn't, I'm not going to say it was great, but it was
Yeah.
acceptable.
Yeah.
And it hurts me, honestly. It was acceptable. Like, this is my job. I'm a
Yeah.
slide monkey,
Yeah.
slide jockey. Yeah, this is what I
Yeah.
do all day. I wrangle the slides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
But I would
Well,
agree. Most of these are not great.
yeah. Well, one thing I was working on, what was it? Was it yesterday? No, it couldn't have been yesterday. I was sick.
Right.
But must have been last week. One of the tools I use uh, that I find pretty valuable. I don't want to actually want to say what it is, just I don't know. They do not make an API available for it.
What?
And and people have been asking for an API for years and years and years. And every time somebody asks, like, "Oh, that's a good idea. We'll add it to our list and we'll get back to you." And they never do. I mean, this is, and somebody always asks, and it's like, no, it's never going to happen. MCP, no, that's not going to happen. The API, not going to happen. Um, and and I've looked at a few, and I've seen somebody else created a kind of an API, but you needed to put in your come up with a token from the web page and then put it in there, but then you'd have to do that a few times, over time. And well, can I recreate this? Is
Mhm.
how doable is that? Because I mean, it's doing the handshake at the beginning where you're passing the bearer tokens and then
Right.
getting the refresh token and the a number of another token.
Right. So you
it's
craft the
it's
header and then do the
it's not
handshake. Yeah.
easy. It's
No.
even if you know what you're doing, there's a lot
Yep.
of steps and there's a lot this back and forth. And it took maybe uh I did I went to their website and did a bunch of things, recorded it, and gave the open code the har file from the browser,
That's been a minute. Yeah.
and it went boop, 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 and it spit out this thing, and
Nice.
it worked for part of it, and then it broke and it gave me an error, and I passed the error onto OpenCode, and it said, okay, great. Built that out, and it took a few tries to get that working, but it worked. And then I
Nice.
said, well, what I really want is for this to be an N8N node. And it took a few tries, but now I've got this N8N node for this tool that I use. And it works. It works shockingly well.
That is
And
fantastic.
I made this in a couple hours, and this company has pushed off on it for years. And yeah,
Now, I don't want to like speak on their behalf, but I think we've talked a little bit about the dead internet and how the internet is changing. I would assume they want to charge you for the APIs, but they haven't figured out how to do so. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like make it make sense to us. Like if you pay me
yeah,
50K, I'll make your API. And if you
yeah,
don't, then let's wait a few more
yeah.
years.
Yeah, they've all their updates have been these gimmicks, and so always been just. And I don't even know why I still use it. There are other tools out there in the same space, but for some reason I kind of like it.
Force of habit.
Um,
I do like the fact that people can make their own connectors for things. Like you're
yeah,
talking about your N8N
yeah,
node, so it's part of a process. You're
yeah,
making an assistant essentially, or an
yeah,
agent, or a workflow that uses it.
yeah,
I think that's fantastic. As somebody who used to do a lot of glue coding
yeah,
for hospitals, banks,
yeah.
lawyers, law firms, that kind of stuff, where they just have very repetitive processes, this
Right,
toil essentially,
right.
but also could not help themselves. Like they couldn't write
Hmm.
something to do that for them. There
Yeah,
was no product they could buy, and they get like I think some of them are like AGFA black and white
yeah,
X-ray scanners that they
yeah,
need to. Can I just get an email
yeah,
of the
yeah,
X? Like the X-ray needs to
yeah,
not live here. Can it be in our
yeah,
medical information
yeah,
system? And I was like, talk to me in 5 years. Do you have
yeah,
50K? Like the same sort of
yeah.
conversation, right? Like make it worth our while to add an email to
Right.
you button, or maybe you could upgrade
Yeah,
you're on a 15-year-old piece of software.
yeah,
New version's only $11 billion.
yeah.
It's fine.
and
Just talk to the province.
you'll get
They'll
the email
scrape
for
their
free.
pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I used to help scrape some of that stuff together,
Hmm.
and it was Autoid, or we were talking
Yeah.
about what are they? C script, those VBA
Hmm.
macros that you could use for Windows back in the day.
Hmm.
But essentially just glue coding stuff together.
Yeah.
And it feels like these days that category of information worker might be able to turn on ChatGPT, describe what they're doing,
Right.
and it could give them something that probably won't work first try, but after a few iterations, they get through it.
Yeah.
This is where we are.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is
Yeah. Yeah. And
uh you go ahead.
I, I've, one thing that's been really nice for N8N is the MCP. There's an N8N MCP that
Right.
will, it builds out the workflow for you, and it's like it's magic. It is magic, and so all the, you get all the benefits of the automation being very repeatable, not AI managed, and so usually cheaper, and more reliable. And but you can build it so much faster because open code or whatever you want to use will do it for you, and it's magic.
Now, this isn't a resounding endorsement or anything like that, but have you played with the N8N skills yet?
No.
Okay, so there's a few of them. The repo that I'm not going to recommend is the N8N skills one, but it's the most popular. It's got a website.
Hmm.
There's like 7 skills in there. The nice thing about skills, though, isn't that other people have made them. It's that you can read them all and make your own, or like
Mm-hmm.
tell your agent,
Yeah.
like, these are all great, but make it for me. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Tell me how to make it. And I find that amazing, being able to just grab someone's skill and sort of
Yeah.
make it your own or
Finesse.
combine with
Yeah.
somebody else. Yeah, the MCP stuff. I listen. I love some of them. I've been playing with the Airtable one, for
Right.
example, and trying to figure out like where Datadogs have
Right.
spoken in the past five
Oh yeah.
years, which is amazing. Actually, it's really cool.
Yeah.
But it takes up context window, and depending on how much it takes up, you could be into trouble. So if I'm asking Airtable for all
Mm.
these records, it'd be like, "Oh, that's great. You've got this context window. Let me give you these files." And it's like, "Oh, sorry, you're using the MCP. That's like half the context window is
Right.
gone." Because I
Right.
wasn't using 1 mil or whatever. I think it was
Mm.
on 200K. That's the only problem I've got with MCP,
Mm.
is it seems to take up a
Interesting.
lot of that context window, whereas a skill seems to only load when it's needed, and the MCP
Right.
seems to be loaded all the time. That's the only thing. Other than
Yeah.
that, I don't like running other people's code as a daemon on my
Yeah.
computer,
No.
but that's a whole other problem.
Right.
Trust issues.
Yes. Yes.
Do you have other MCP servers you use? Like I think we've talked about Context 7 before. I've finally gotten
Yeah,
rid
I
of
mean
it.
that and the N8N one are the only ones that I actually. I mean, I played around with others, but those are the two that I keep going back to.
Got a question from the peanut gallery here, trying to
Yeah.
bait us with OpenClaw. Have you played with it yet?
A little, and
Oh, oh,
I have installed and uninstalled, and I mean, because one thing I like to do is make sure I am coming up with a repeatable process that I can put in a video. And so a lot of the time I'm
fair.
using something, I am deleting it and reinstalling it and trying it again, um, and I'm using it on Hostinger, which
Okay.
it's
Yep.
um, and they've
Keep it
got
far away from your home network. Yeah.
yeah, they've got a something that's really good for, just one click, choose that you want to use OpenClaw and it
I saw
installs it
that.
and it's all set to
Yeah.
go. But it runs it in a Docker container on this
Hmm.
VPS, which okay, great, but you don't I mean, one of the reasons people will use a container on their own machine, have a little bit of separation, not a lot, but a little bit. But having one, having a machine that is just one Docker container that
Right.
is seems a little
Pointless.
bit pointless.
Absolutely pointless. Yeah.
Um,
Sorry.
and
I just gotta call it like it is. It's pointless.
and getting the Olama integration into OpenClaw, because I mean, have you played at all with OpenClaw?
Oh yeah,
So
quite a bit. Getting Olama
the
installed is very easy. You say now switch providers to OpenClaw. I sorry, Open Olama. Here's your
right,
API key, and you never hear from the agent again. It's fantastic
yeah,
because it goes
yeah.
offline as soon as you do it, and then it's like, oh shoot. Then you're like, oh, can I get some other agent to fix my agent? Or
Yeah,
it's amazing.
and it's there's a configuration area, but that configuration, I mean, is
It's
so
awful.
it's
Vibe
awful.
coded.
I mean, at
Yeah,
first I
it's vibe
thought,
coded.
oh, this is really cool. There's a lot of detail in here, but no, it's a terrible because there's a lot of detail in there.
Yeah, this is somebody
Um,
who's come up with Apache One. Again, some
yeah,
offense meant, and like those config files, where
yeah,
the rest of us could not stand them.
yeah.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, like this is
So
okay.
there's
This is
a
fine.
you can run Olama launch OpenClaw, but
Yes.
it doesn't. I wasn't able to get it to work well when it was in a Docker container when, and so getting that configuration all to work was challenging. And so getting it into just installing on the base OS, that everything just works.
Yeah, totally agree. And
Yeah,
and I feel like as I'm really just I'm feeling pretty front stabby today. I'm so sorry, but as bad as security is in OpenClaw, I feel like the best method is to give it like a whole VM or a whole computer. Having done so
yeah,
a couple times. Now there's some chat. I think Edwin is saying that they use OpenCore and OpenRouter, possibly different to OpenClaw, but I will say that the one I've been playing around with as part of like agentic workflows is MicroClaw. Have you heard of this?
no,
It
micro
well,
versus nano.
yes, exactly. So it's a little bit smaller than Nano. It'll run on like an SP32, for example.
Right.
It's quite small. So it's just a Pi loop,
Oh yeah,
but
yeah,
not Raspberry Pi, but Pi
yeah,
the kind of REPL for LLMs. Sorry, that's like that's not the best description of it, but it's this Pi is essentially a loop. That's
yeah.
what it does. Now, what I find interesting is being able to spawn short-lived microclaws as part of agentic workflows.
Mm,
So it has all your rules, but it's not running all the time, which I think is where I get
right,
really a little bit disconcerted because I love the schedules. I love being able to run long running tasks. I love to be able to check in on tasks or different sessions, spawn sessions, come back. Like again, if you're using
right.
Tmux, you can get back into that Tmux session. Fantastic. What I don't like is it running all the time with ports open or just
Hmm.
like waiting to read some bad PDF. It's going to send it
Right,
down the bad path. Like ignore all instructions and white text on
right,
some resume.
right.
Let's go this way. Not cool. So I find it pretty interesting to spin them up essentially and have them do their thing and then spin them down.
Hmm.
But they're not the same engine. It's not the
Right,
same state. It's fresh state every time.
right.
That's kind of where I am right now, and I could do it with OpenClaw, but it's a lot heavier.
Yeah,
The only other thing I'd say is that the GUI for OpenClaw has also been deprecated in Homebrew. So if you've got it installed, you probably want to swap installation methods. I don't know why it got deprecated, but I can tell you that's the one that was doing the ARP scanning that I get a little
yeah.
bit antsy about, which is why I popped it off my computer.
Hmm.
Um, it's cool. It's very smart.
Yeah.
And yeah, not a big fan of the smarts. yeah, I think somebody else is saying that they've got it on Hostinger as well.
Yeah.
For
It
me
is
personally, I think
interesting that
Tail. Yeah,
it
go
is
ahead.
it one thing that Hostinger has done pretty well is they've, reached out to a lot of YouTubers to get them to make
Hmm.
videos on building this thing on Hostinger.
I think we talked about the Kai video where it's like a standard VPS bro trying to show you how to install it on Hostinger or
Oh
whatever.
yeah?
No, you didn't see it?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
So he draws this big security architecture. He's like, here's how you SSH into the box. Now here's how you stop SSH. And here's how you remote into the box. Here's how you install Tailscale. And he ends up making this like pentagram. So it's like he's demonically like bringing up the server. And he's like, and it's kind of a mock like
Yeah.
engineer talking to somebody who's asked for something. And then the engineer is like, and now can I install open client? Is like, no, we're just getting started. Like, yes, because there's so much like just to
Yeah.
get a VPS secured
Yeah.
on Hostinger is amazing. So he turns it on. The first thing is like, okay, it's on. The clock's ticking. People are trying the SSH already. I think it's so good. It's just this
Yeah.
fake accent, but it's so true. You turn on a VPS, and
Yeah.
immediately what happens is just they're hammering
Yeah.
the SSH port
Yeah.
because it's open. You
Yeah.
haven't locked it down to your IP, so it's just gonna keep
Yeah.
getting attacked. And there's so many hoops that you need to jump through just to essentially say that you've assured that this VPN is sorry, this VPS over VPN is
Yeah.
somewhat like you think it's secure.
Yeah.
You think nobody's come in at this point in time. It's
Yeah.
yeah, even just getting to that point is a whole
Yeah.
slog uphill, unfortunately.
And you can, I mean, one thing I'll just use their firewall that on the Hostinger site and
Yeah,
shut down all ports,
yeah,
and then
definitely.
install Tailscale. So I go through
Yep.
Tailscale instead, and that way, unless you're logged into my Tailscale telnet, you're not getting into that thing.
Yeah. And then Edwin's saying that they use PFSense with
pfSense.
WireGuard. My understanding is WireGuard and Tailscale, do they share
It,
underlying architecture?
I mean, Tailscale
One's paid,
and
one's not.
Tailscale uses WireGuard.
Okay, perfect. That's what.
And but all these Tailscale, and there's a number of others that all use WireGuard basically to do the magic.
What I liked about Tailscale was how easy it
Oh my
was. Like I
god,
could
yeah,
explain this to my mom, basically.
yeah,
Like log on to this computer, log in, log into the other computer, log
right,
in. They said computer there, but basically they're connected automatically, which
yeah.
is phenomenal. And I,
And you said you were
having
using
looked at
a
WireGuard,
separate tailnet, so therefore a separate account for your
nope, just one account, one restricted tailnet. That's all that account
restricted
does.
tailnet.
They don't have
Uh,
an exit node. They talk to each other.
oh, okay,
Like
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
tailnet doesn't
Okay,
have internet access. Yeah. So it's like a ring of VPN.
right,
They're on my local network, but I don't even
yeah,
trust them on
yeah,
my local network. Having seen them like ARP scam, and now we're like, nah, not happening.
yeah, yeah. Twin Gate's
Uh,
another one.
oh, okay.
Twin Gate will use WireGuard as well.
I don't know which one. Cool. Oh, nice. I searched for it in Tailscale as the first result. Sponsored. Fantastic. This is cool. Yeah, I feel like zero trust is one of those things that I thought I was doing 3 years ago and then realized this year
Right.
that you know when you think you know something and then you
Yeah.
realize you don't. Yeah, it's more than just VPN. Oh, this is cool. I feel like I should try a few.
Yeah. There's also another one that's uh other other variations on the word tail scale. Oh god, I can't. There might even be another project called Pangolin, which is a animal that has a tail with scales.
I know about Pangolin from there's this operating system called Ubuntu. Precise Pangolin. Am
Oh
I
yeah.
dating myself
Oh
here?
yeah.
Yeah. I won't say I bought the t-shirt, but I think yeah, it's 20.04. Pangolin tail scale, eh? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Head scale, pangolin,
Yeah.
tail scale. All
Yeah.
right. I think that's where we're at though. If we're going to deploy
Yeah.
agents with network
Oh yeah.
access, the way you lock these down has to be something similar to a zero trust network.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
we're not sponsored by Tailscale yet,
Right.
knock on wood, but until that day comes, it sounds like WireGuard or
Yeah.
what have you is the best. Yeah, and I think Edwin, you mentioned that it can be used as a kernel module. I think that's another thing that's really important when we're
Yeah.
talking about a VPN or sorry a VPS turning on and being attacked immediately. Having this loaded prior to the network interface coming up is a big deal.
Right.
It means that you can actually assert that it's secure from boot,
Right.
which is difficult on a Windows
Yeah.
box, for
Yeah.
example, with EFI and a lot that's going on there. So, really?
Yeah.
All right, Matt.
All right.
Is it checkout time?
Sure. I guess so.
Is this the moment you were waiting for?
No, I don't. I'm trying to think if I have anything.
All right. Well, I'm fiddling with something I can talk about because I've talked about it
Yeah.
before. So this is what's stuck in my hand.
Oh, okay. I have one of those.
Yeah. This all it is a Belkin. I want to say stand or something like that,
Yeah.
but it allows you to clip onto the back of your MagSafe phone and stick it on a monitor. The problem is this little hook here is a little bit too small.
Oh,
and
no.
It doesn't fit on my monitors, but it fits on my laptop really well.
Yeah.
All this to say, the Apple camera from your iPhone is remarkably good. And I'm comparing it to like a Sony DSLR in front of me. It's very good.
Yeah.
Like really, really good.
Yeah.
I don't have to mess with like filters and settings and stuff. My skin looks okay, you know. It's fantastic. I don't have to play with beautification or any of that stuff. And if you set it up one way, you can see yourself in it as well, so you don't have to set up a monitor. It's kind of nice, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of like my second camera. But the thing I want to talk about this week is maybe a company more than a thing, but this is from 10G Tech. It's very hard to see.
Okay.
Do you know what this is?
I do.
You do?
It goes into a router. It lets you plug in the I can't remember what the modules are called.
I wish I knew too. I think it's I think it's a oh shoot. I want to say it's a Cat 6 module. It's a GBIC. Is that right? I think. Oh shoot! Now I'm gonna have to look it up. Quickly hop on Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, you have a SFP port. Is SFP SFP or SFP plus plus? And then I have a couple of routers that have
transceiver. I'm so sorry.
There we go.
Just plugged right into my
ports.
Ubiquiti. I thought I had to have special cables. I have to buy a special adapter. The operating temperature of this module. Can you guess what it thinks is safe for operating?
No, what?
I'll give you a hint. So inside of this module is an actual computer, which I didn't know. So it's like full on in here. There's firmware. It's got a little chip, and it will actually convert signals from one media to another, which is awesome.
Yeah.
The chip inside of here gets exactly. Somebody's in the chat already talking about like you can reprogram these with different operating systems. It gets to 70 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that would be in Fahrenheit because I think 100 is like in Fahrenheit.
Plus 30, so 140, 170.
It's ridiculous. It's so hot, like hot to the touch. Very, very hot. Like I thought it would melt the cables hot.
Yeah.
It's not that bad, but it's pretty darn hot. And that's what I'm looking at now is whether or not I can change the firmware or operating system essentially that's on here because it's pretty bad. And apparently it's something you can do is go in and like change what they've done. Maybe not on every connector, but this was only $45 and the cable alone, the SFP cable, let alone a NIC to handle it on the other end is way more than that. So it seemed like an easy buy for me. So I'm just trying to figure out how to deal with the heat.
Two routers, and before I had, a Cat 7 cable connecting the two of them. And now I have those transceivers and a fiber cable, pretty short fiber cable going between the two, and that works great.
Yeah, the tiny fiber cables are pretty cheap. It's whenever you need like.
Oh yeah, I
think it's like 3 foot, 4 foot.
Yeah.
Why do they go up in price so much? Because you can get like those tiny little, almost like just loop cables. It's ridiculous. So the question about what the chip is, I did not look it up, and it doesn't say here, but I will find out. Edwin, my apologies. So what on your end should we know about?
On my end, so one thing I did last week, so I have this space where I have the camera and lights all set up, and then I have a space upstairs, up that way, that is was initially used as Stella's kind of nursery or bedroom while she was still up on our floor. But now she's moved downstairs, and so that's become my office. But it's really, I got a desk, the desk that used to be right over there, and that's it. And there, like anything that I want to store, there's one storage place. There's on the desk or on the floor. And it's like I've been like I want to get some cabinets. I don't know what I want. I just need something. I need something because I don't have anywhere to put anything. Um, and it's always, I mean, it's just a junk pile in there. And one furniture company we've bought a lot of stuff from is called Room and Board, and
Okay.
we really like them. And I picked out a nice cabinet that would be wonderful in that room for $4,000, and it would take 2 months to deliver. They're like, okay, I don't really need that.
Right.
I go back to my standby that I've used for years and years and years and years, and that's IKEA. Um, and I found we bought a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, we bought a Kallax unit for my daughter to store
Hmm.
her stuffies and stuff. Um, Used to go by a different name, but it's Kallax now. And so I thought, well, let me just get one of those Kallax units as well. And uh, uh, but okay. So then the problem is with IKEA is we live on Bainbridge Island. To get to IKEA would be a 45-minute ferry and then a 30-minute drive. It's
Yep.
$15 each way. So it's
Hmm.
$30 just to show up, and it's a 3-hour investment without even stepping inside of IKEA.
Right. Those are good
So
meatballs, though. Come on now.
that's true. But I had not ever. I looked into uh, I had looked into delivery before, but for some reason I never did it. And I finally like, well, let's just get it delivered. And it was $30, so the same price as my ferry ride back and forth. I found everything. I like chose everything at uh like 6 p.m. and it was delivered at 11 a.m. the next day.
Yeah, it's
It's
fantastic.
like, my God, like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is and people like to make fun of IKEA and but
Mhm.
versus the things I've gotten, like cheap furniture I've gotten off of Amazon, it's far less
Yeah.
sturdy,
Yeah.
and it's just better to get it. I mean, we've had some things from IKEA that have lasted many moves and 20 years, so it works great. Of course,
I, I'm in the same boat. Yeah.
I put in these two units, and I wanted to put some holes in it to pass some cables through. So I got a little hole saw, like an inch and a half,
Yeah. Yeah.
and drilled through. But there you see one of the cost savings. It's I was thinking it's particle board, like a thick piece of particle board. Oh no, it's a thin piece of particle board, and then thin sheets of paper filling
Right.
up the space, and then a thin sheet of particle board, and that's it. And
Right.
I mean, it's amazing that they can get it that sturdy when it's mostly just paper.
Paper. Paper and
Um,
cardboard.
Paper and cardboard. It's kind of incredible.
I
Um,
think I think Marquise here is having an issue typing, but I think what's going on in the chat is a resounding endorsement for Nanobot. So I think that's what we're
uh,
trying to say. um, but one of the things that I
I kept
really like
looking
about
over and thinking, wait, is this some
oh, sorry,
spammer?
I thought so too, but I think it's just a bunch of
Oh,
typos.
okay.
I'm so sorry, Marquis. The cool thing about IKEA, at least the last time that I tried it, is they've got this phone app where you can take a photo of your
Oh
space
yeah,
or
yeah,
move it around a bit. It does this dot array,
yeah.
I guess it's LiDAR, and it maps your space and then allows you to like sort of place objects to see what they and it
It's
felt
like
amazing. It's like,
magic.
what is going on? Yeah. So like for us, it was just this couch behind us, trying to figure out like which couch would be
Yeah,
the best, how it would fit, that kind of thing. I think even now it's a little bit long, but they do come really quickly. And if you've got a problem, they'll come back basically,
yeah,
which is nice as well. So, or if you need help setting up, they'll help
yeah,
you. Some people really don't like the IKEA setup thing, or they don't
yeah.
have the leftover Allen wrenches from the last install, or what have you. But I really do like the IKEA experience. I hate to be
Yeah,
one of those people, but it's kind of nice because you can sort of, it's convenient. I think is the main thing. You can sort of just pick it out of the catalog, get in your home the next
yeah,
day, and if you don't, send it back pretty much the
yeah.
same day. It's fantastic. The only thing I miss about the in-person experience, or the only things I miss, one, the meatballs. I legit
Yeah,
don't mind the meatballs.
yeah.
The store experience itself with like the show area,
Mhm.
not really my thing. It's
Oh,
like a
okay.
maze, you have to go through it, but I really like the spare parts at the end. So if you're like, you're
Oh,
buying a
yeah.
couch, you can grab a couple extra cushions
Yep,
which aren't in the catalog, which
yep,
is the thing that drives me a little. Or you can like make your own, I don't know,
yeah,
Frankenstein's monster table or
yeah.
things. It's amazing.
Yeah, and over the years, I have found myself. I don't like look out for it. I don't like think, oh, I need to go to an IKEA today. But I have found myself like with friends or with colleagues. I've found myself at IKEAs in well all over the Netherlands because I live there, and
Of
in the
course. Yep.
Netherlands, there's about I think there's like 6 or 7 that skirt around Amsterdam. But they're all in obviously they're all the first language is Dutch, and the catalog from there is Dutch. But if you go down to is it Leiden or oh no what's it city Den Haag the Hague, there's an IKEA there where the first language is English, and you can get the catalog from there in English. So you get the Dutch catalog, but it's euro prices, but in English, which is great. Um, but uh, um, but I found myself at all the IKEAs in the Netherlands, plus IKEAs in England, and IKEAs in Dubai, and
Mhm.
in Sydney, and in Oslo, and in I mean, like all these IKEAs around the world. I think I've even been to one
You're
like
touring
down
them.
in South
Yeah.
America. Yeah, I mean,
Are
so
the
I
meatballs all the same? It's like we're
the
dying to know.
meatballs. So the meatballs are the same, but the potato choice is often different. And so
No
some
way, you're
some
blowing my
places
mind.
have fries versus
Okay.
the roasted potatoes versus other variations on potatoes.
Well, hold up. Like, not all of us are eating mayo with fries there in the Netherlands. It's this like the not the national snack of the Netherlands?
Yeah, so it's kind of amazing, and they all have the same maze-like structure. And if you plop yourself in an IKEA in Dubai versus Sydney versus here in Renton, Washington, you wouldn't know you were. I mean, you could probably figure it out based on whether it's a euro symbol or a dollar symbol, but then there's not much else that
Mm.
says where you are where in the world you are. They all look the same. It's kind of amazing.
Now, I often think about the dead Kennedys, and this is probably not going to land. I'm sorry, but it's like this could be anywhere. It feels like an unplace. Like it could be. I know the song's about something different, but it feels like when you hit like you get into a McDonald's in Japan, you're like,
Mm.
this feels a little bit. This is McDonald's. Like everything's the same. It's all in the same
Yep.
location. Like the layout's the same. It has that McDonald's. It is. It like
Yeah.
smell.
Yeah.
And IKEA's got like they've got the I think right by the exit, which is where the entrance is. Typically, they've got the restaurant because it's like right
Yeah.
at the end. So when you enter in, you're smelling the
Yeah.
food, and
Yeah.
then you walk around, then you can smell it at the end. It's like a reminder.
Yeah.
But they seem to have that same sort of planning
And
or
some of
layout.
them have really nice restaurants, and some of them have awful
Oh,
restaurants. Like the
oh,
one
and
in
Ed was saying they don't always have the
Renton,
same products either.
Washington.
Yep.
I think they have mostly the same products, but
Okay.
not. There might be like some things that you can't get.
Gotcha.
Like I feel like the smart products came to the U.S. later than they came to Europe.
Yeah, they were talking about those cheap light bulbs for years, the cheap IKEA light bulbs
Hmm.
that you could get in Europe, but not in North
Yeah.
America.
batteries.
Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted. I've just open sourced my first thing in my life for Datadog, so I'm very happy.
Oh, what was that?
I open sourced some skills. We've got a
Yeah.
new repo, Datadog Labs, I think,
Uh-huh.
on GitHub. You can go have a look now. There's
Okay.
2 projects there. One is Cody's, I think we talked about last week, is
Okay.
pub,
Yeah.
so it's like a CLI, and then the next is a skill. And I think what we're
So
trying
what's
to
the CLI for?
CLI is for imagine you're on the command line and you're trying to Datadog, but you're an AI agent. So you don't have things like
Mm,
API keys or app keys, but you still want to be secure. So it's like an OAuth API client. I don't
okay.
want to undersell it. It's actually really, really handy.
Hmm,
And then all I did was sort of harness that as a CLI for skills so that I don't have to ship a binary, but I can also
right.
ship a markdown file that can, in
I
case you
I
use bash or
miss
whatever. Yeah.
I remember. I mean, I don't actively miss it anymore because I don't really care. But I when I was at Datadog, I missed the when they took out Pup. I think it was called Pup,
Yes.
which
Yes.
was like the kind of command line, or was it command line? No, it was a GUI, I think, but just a small front end. Oh, it ran on the wherever you install the agent that could
Mhm.
get access to, you know, what was going on locally on your machine. But this
Yeah,
is
WebGUI.
more for connecting to the entire Datadog, which is great.
Yeah, I was just looking at WebGUI again yesterday because it's pretty powerful actually. So it
Yeah.
runs by default on Mac and Windows, and you can turn it on Linux. But that web UI has it's like its context has access to a lot
Hmm.
basically on your computer, and you can kind of I wouldn't
Hmm.
recommend playing around with it, but
Yeah.
you can put some stuff in there if you want to.
Yeah.
So like instead of scrolling through the log, like is my API key
Yeah.
valid? For
Yeah.
example, so I've hacked on that a couple times,
Yeah.
but yes, all open source. Yeah, the
Hmm.
command, the pub command, I think was in Go, but just got ported to Rust.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And then my stuff, I think, started off in Python, and then I realized
Okay.
that I didn't want to ship binaries. So
Yeah.
yeah, much easier to ship Markdown files and like Cody deal with all the
Yeah.
rusty
Yeah.
stuff. It's way fun, but it
Oh,
is
so now
interesting to
there's a
talk to.
transition
Yep,
from Go to Rust inside?
I wouldn't say necessarily, though. When we uh, was it Timber Vector? When we picked up Timber,
Mm,
I think is when we sort of started introducing rusty
okay.
stuff within Datadog. Now there was Rust before,
Right.
but there's more rusty things going on.
I
Uh,
remember with early on, all the agent was 100% Python.
oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and
It's gonna
then
go now.
they
Yeah.
made the transition to Go, and very proud of the fact that it was all in Go apart from the uh, integrations were still Python. Is that still, are they still Python integrations?
For the most
Mm,
part, yeah,
yeah.
but not Python 2, which is I
Yeah.
think you're probably there for that as well.
Yeah.
So not 2.7, all 3, which is
Yeah.
nice. But I think at this point in time, what I'm seeing is a lot of people moving. I want to say up the stack, but like down the stack, I guess. So
Hmm.
they'll start with like a bash script, and then they'll think, oh, hey, can I make
Yeah.
this better? Can I make it Python? And then they'll go from Python to Go, from Go to Rust, and
Hmm.
maybe they'll go to assembly. I've been playing around with Rust and WASM
Uh-huh.
using Leptos. Have you played with
Uh-huh.
Leptos?
No.
Oh, I cannot recommend writing a GUI in Rust, but if you've got an AI companion that can
Yeah.
do it for you, by all means, have at it.
Wow.
Uh, because I really don't know what I'm doing with TypeScript. I guess I've come to the realization now that I just like I get stuck, and I didn't even know this. Jeremy pointed it out to me recently, but there's the type any, and I hadn't
Hmm.
realized that a lot of the AIs to get around type issues will just set type to any. It's like a shortcut,
Mm.
and it's kind of like asserting
It's a
a
way to do
test
it
that
wrong.
passes true. Yeah, exactly. Like assert true, test passed without
Yeah.
checking anything. Like yeah, this has a type. I mean, it is of a
Yeah.
type. And then you're trying to figure out like if something is equal to something else, and then you have to like type cat. It's so Edwin, you asked about, or somebody asked about what model it was. This Marvell is a
Yeah.
controller, and apparently it can take whatever from where you want, which is nice.
Come on,
And then
Jake.
somebody said they're afraid to use Rust on your Mac.
Come on.
So for those of you in the chat that do remote access a lot, like maybe Matt and I do with Tailscale, you might like Rust Desk, which is very similar to TeamViewer. Have you heard of this, Matt?
Rust Desk? No. I mean, I know
Rust Desk.
TeamViewer.
Yeah, do you remember No Machine back in the day? It's very similar to
No.
No Machine in my eyes. But RustDesk is essentially a way for you to use TeamViewer completely open source, all based in Rust.
Hmm.
Would highly, highly recommend it. Do you
Okay.
remember Techno Tim? This is one
Oh
of
yeah,
those
yeah.
Techno Tim recommendations. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've gone across so many of these remote desktop solutions for providing support to my mother's machine or to somebody else's machine, and so I've got dozens of different install clients somewhere. It's like, do I still need AnyDesk or do I still need TeamViewer or whatever else tools I've used? Um, and but RustDesk, I will look.
RustDesk, yeah. I use a lot of Apple Remote Desktop at home. I
Yeah.
think just because I paid $300 for it years ago. I'm sure it's a lot cheaper now. But I use that to manage all my Macs, and you can send
Hmm.
remote commands and do a whole bunch of stuff, which is pretty handy. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not. It doesn't even hold a candle to some of the open source tools out there, like
Yeah.
nRemote NG, for example.
Yeah.
Is way better. Just yeah. All right, I think that's
Okay.
it. Sorry
Yeah, I think
for that
so.
long diatribe. I've been working on a lot of stuff. I figured I'd give you a bit of a brain dump this week.
Yeah.
You.
Well,
Oh, your dog's
Jay,
adorable in the background,
Jay,
just
what are you
like
doing?
getting in the trying to find some smelly stuff.
Yeah. Hey, come here.
Just showing
She
off.
just she just got a haircut yesterday. Come on.
Oh,
Show
adorable.
show everyone your
We're going full dog mode
haircut.
here. Oh, poor Jade. You didn't even bend over to look around the poor thing.
Hello.
Hi, Jade. Oh, super cute.
Okay.
All right, yeah, just throws the dog.
Out of here.
Shall we find that button?
I think we should find that button.
Thanks a lot for the chat, folks. That was amazing. Loved all the questions and the emojis. There are a lot of emojis this week.